Hold on, we are live. I'm just behind the scenes here.
Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. We're the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
It's a journey for life and I'm your ride. Hang on.
This episode of Snowmobile Sessions Live is brought to you by our friends at Energy Power Sports. Check them out on YouTube. Just search up Energy Power Sports, but wait till it's done. Wait till the show is done. They're Oakville's full-line BRP dealer with sales and service to all BRP models and so much more. It's also brought to you by the fans. Hold on. Cue sound effect. Yeah, last week. Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, I'm rusty on this, Rich. There we go. Last week we had Sometimes Is Now take the Mountain Madman spot with a $20 donation. Dustin Ingram and Broadway line came in at $5 and $6.99 respectively. And we had Corey Brock and Scott Phillips. They moved up to the Boondocker stage with the thanks for the bruise, Gary, right on. So even Scott Phillips, he actually didn't even use Super Chat, that little $sign at the bottom of your chat window. He actually sent it in through PayPal. So that was pretty cool to see. And the fan photo segment is brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. Modern tracks have come a long way from the tiny lugs from years ago, but there's one thing they'll never be able to do. That's penetrate ice. If you ride trails, you'll come across icy situations, and that's where the Fast Track stud kits can help you. Fast Track takes a unique approach to studying snowmobiles with design, materials, and stud templates. Their Top Gun studs and airlight backers are designed to pull flush and evenly compress across the track in a traditional way steel studs and aluminum backers cannot. This is accomplished with a thin shoulder-free stud base. It does not have bottoming out point for the backer. Why does that matter? It means your idler wheels and running gear won't be beat up from the stud heads mile after mile. But here's the most important part. For all you Snowmobile Sessions listeners, Fast Track is offering free install tools with the purchase of the stud kit. Just go to fasttrack.co. There's no K in track. It's FASTTRAC.co. Put that toolkit in your cart with your traction products, your studs and backers, and then use the coupon code SNOW, SNOW, and that toolkit is absolutely free. Thanks a lot, Fast Track. We'll talk more about it when we get to the fan photos. There we go, Rich. How's your week been, buddy?
Very good, very good. Temperatures are dropping, looking good. Yeah, how about you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm stoked. And then seeing the pictures from today that people sent in, oh, I can't wait. So I'm going to.
And I've just cracked one of these open.
Look at that.
Awesome, buddy.
Ballistic Barmy Blondes.
Cheers. It's great beer, buddy.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. Getting good feedback on it so far.
It's great beer.
Yeah. Anyway, let's bring in our special guest for tonight, Ryan Eckmeyer from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs.
Nice.
Hold on. This is a little slow.
There we go.
There we go.
Am I in?
Right?
I'm in.
You're in. You're in. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing well. How's everybody?
Excellent.
Oh, very well. Thank you.
And I know you guys showed off your beer, so I have to show off my coffee. It's a work night. We got to get the trails ready and everything up and going for you guys. So it's got to stay bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Very
nice. So you're fairly new to the OFSC. You want to give us a little rundown on how you got in there and what kind of things are happening right now?
Yeah, I would say I'm recycled new because I was there before. I was CEO in 2018, 2019. Had to step away from the role to take care of family business, which I still do today. But the opportunity arose to come back, and I think it was a good alignment. It was an opportunity for me to take what I learned in my first go around, but having a good 6, 7, 8 month air gap to really think about it, to really step away and understand the organization from a different perspective. And coming back in June of this year, it's really been full speed ahead. We had our AGM, we had permits go on sale, and everything is going along nicely. So we got things in hand.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, let's look at who's in the house. There's lots of activity going on right now. We got Matthew Nicholson. He was first. I think he was in there this week. Like, I'm talking days ago. Bruce Stewart, he's always there. He says he's ready as always. What's up, Gary Rich and the rest of the Brat gang? Anthony Palermo, he's so ready for the episode. We got Corey Brock, of course. We got Snowstorm, Garrett Cawley, Mark Bowe. He's back. He's been in a hiatus. I don't know where rock he's been hiding under. We have Troy Parks, of course. We got some pictures from him, and we got the Michigan Outlaws. Yeah, they're in the house. Which one's in there? Which one's the Michigan? Brad Hitchcock, Jumpman Jay. He's a good one. Olive Garden Gnome. Hello from Pittsburgh, he says. And Sled Addicts, of course, they're always here. What's up, gents? Ron Kesselutz, he's in the house. That's a new name. Jesse Buckman's in the house. BKD 694 says hello all. Angelo D, he's back. I think Angelo D's hooked now. Christy Carson says, hey ladies, she's representing. Sometime is now Ryan is one of our biggest fans, I think now.
Okay.
Jay Sirocco 22. Nunzio, you know Nunzio, Ryan, don't you?
I know Nuns. I know Christy. A couple names here are popping up. Yeah.
Got it. Renegade X is in there. Sorry if I'm missing anybody. Slowby. He's in the house. So we got lots. Pro Polaris, Raymond 007. Who else? Ski-Doo 600R. That's a great name. Yeah, so Troy Parks, I don't know whether I said him. Dominator 286. I could go on and on all day. Love you guys. Love you, love you, love you.
These are the real celebrities, aren't they?
They are. They make the show possible. It's fun.
That's
we
right.
just sit here and Rich and I get so distracted by the chats that go on, and it's hard to focus on anything else, right?
Yeah, that's good.
So listen, I think we could just we're going to get to some questions from the chat, and we'll talk more about the OFSC and stuff. But do you want to just get right into some fan photos brought to you by Fast Track Traction Products?
Yeah, let's do her.
Does that sound good? Let's do that. I just got to find that tile, and we'll get going.
Don't let them go to waste. One moment, one shot.
Don't forget to send in your fan photos before noon on Mondays. Not 5 p.m., not 4:30 p.m. Don't do that to old Gary. He doesn't like that. So I got my flat head on right now. So pardon me. But, don't forget to go to the fasttrack.co and put in that coupon code SNOW, and you'll get your free toolkit. And I thought it was just a beer koozie, but you actually get tools with it. You get the drill bit and the stud plug remover stuff, and it's great. So thank you, Fast Track, for that. That's an awesome offer. So, hey, listen, did you watch much videos last week, Rich?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched a couple of yours. You wrote with Odie,
did
right?
you see the Jeremy Rides one? He didn't send this in. He asked for people to promote it, and I thought this is such a clever idea. So Jeremy Rides, he actually got some buddies together, arguably the most professional pro pit bike racers on the planet, and got a corn maze that's local to him, and they had a race for $1,000 cash in the corn maze, and it's crazy. Like they and he has such good footage, and he commentates it, the whole thing. It was just classic. But they're in there, and they had like
that's hilarious.
Soccer balls they're throwing at people. So if you actually get hit by a soccer ball, you had to drop the flag and then ride 10 seconds the other direction before you could come back. And it's crazy. I watched it actually twice because it was so engaging. So go check it out on Jeremy Ride's channel, and you guys will love it. So we got to figure out how to do this on the snow, Rich.
Yeah,
and
right.
then we'll be then we'll be laughing. But
now the question is that going to show up in the trail guides on the
that
right? That's the big question from everyone wants to know, right?
That's right, exactly. So
Sounds
this
good.
is everybody. You can start hating Neil Owen now. I didn't see him in the chat, so
No, I haven't
he's
seen him
maybe
yet.
no, he's on island time. So when he does pop into the chat, make sure you let him have it, because he sent this picture in. He's actually in Bahamas. He says it's a last ditch kick at summer before the snow flies. And he said maybe a better caption would be the other white gold.
Yeah,
So
right.
anyway, I don't like that picture. I almost didn't show
No.
it, but Neil's such a great guy.
I've had enough of summer already. Let's get on with winter.
Exactly. That looks horrible, doesn't it, Rich?
Yeah. Oh yeah, tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So-
wouldn't not go there, but look at Buck, Jesse Buckman giving us $21. Thanks,
Is
buddy.
it really? That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
hang on. I got to get the sound effect out. Just hold on a second here. How did I
Oh.
miss that? Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, here's our first question. You knew it was coming.
Oh, I
Hold on.
pulled myself
Mountain
into it, didn't I?
Yeah. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, that's a $22 question, Jesse. Sorry, we don't get to answer that. He says, do we know if there's a possibility of OFSC partnering with Ski-Doo for BRP Go this season? I'm very curious, as that would really bring the premium gauge to life. As always, love what you guys are doing. We won't miss a week. Well, thank you, Jesse. That's awesome. So what do you think? And talk about Polaris too, because that's another one people have been asking about.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, really good questions, and I'll take the long way around, possibly almost giving you an answer to it, but I think you'll like the almost answer I give. So the issue with any non-OFSC app or GPS module has kind of been two or threefold, and I'll just talk about them briefly. One has been change management. So what type of API, what type of connectivity do you have from our interactive trail guide, which is supposed to be the gospel, the single source of information, to any third party. So whether it's BRP or Polaris, and in previous seasons there hasn't been a good solution for it. There really wasn't a way to do it in a streamlined way when a trail changes from available to unavailable, or there's a major trail closure because of an infrastructure washout or something along those lines. Something where you need to really communicate that to people, to riders in a quick manner. That solution didn't really exist before, and it really was one of the major sticking points on whether we were able to do it or not. So that was item number one. Item number two was crowdsourced data. So if we are entering into a data sharing relationship with any OEM, we can only have one source of data. It can't be our data plus what you guys find, because it won't match up. At some point we're going to have some issues with it. Not necessarily points of interest, gas stations, stuff like that. Like I think there's a place for crowdsourced data, and I think there's actually a really cool place for it in snowmobiling. But those two items, the ability to have people acknowledge waivers, all of the boring risk management stuff, and that's kind of the unfortunate side of this whole discussion, is it's not exciting. There's not exciting reasons why. It's more of just the legalities. All of those reasons previously this year were kind of unfixable at the time. Now, over the course of the summer, actually going back to the end of last season, last spring, really started to get our heads together with the OEMs and say, hey, there's got to be a way to fix this. Technology is relatively straightforward. We have good partners. We have willing participants. Your customers want it, OEMs. Our customers want it, as in permit buyers. So how do we make it happen? So we have been working all summer and into the early fall, and I would say that there is nothing formal yet, but I am very optimistic that we will be able to have something in advance of this season. So that's the best I can give you right now. But keep your eyes peeled and your ears open, and you should see some advancement on it in the near future.
Well, that's awesome. I wasn't expecting even that. So you know what? Right, that's awesome. That's I know that's what a lot of people have been asking for, and so I mean that's very hopeful. So appreciate the
now. Why did
answer.
our numbers go from like 1,000 people watching down to 3 right now?
That's it. That was the one question, right?
Did you
we can catch the Leaf game now, right? So we're good.
Hey, Corey Brock asked a good question. He said, can the OFSC give permits back to landowners again, or what is the reason they can't? The landowners don't get anything for use of the land, and it's getting harder for us to get permission.
Yeah, no, another really good question. And the answer, unfortunately, with anything to do with a permit, the answer is no. It's a government, permit. You can't buy it for someone straight up, which is why we created those gift cards. And I'll talk about that in a moment, because it might be a way to work around that issue. But the whole idea of a permit itself is it's a government document, and we're administering it, and it can't be used as an incentive for anything. Now, the creation of the gift card program, which we brought in under my first tenure, I think it would have been in September 2019, we announced it. That gives you some more flexibility to purchase, to give as a gift to your friends and family and loved ones, which I would highly encourage you to do, to possibly provide to a landowner if you wanted. But I think the landowner issue is bigger than just permits. I think it is something that requires a more I think a more holistic approach. It's building in, and I see Bruce type in there that they have tax deductions for trail property. I mean, those type of things are great. The ability to have appreciation dinners, the ability to engage them in the community. I mean, a lot of these landowners aren't looking for much. They want to give back. They want to be, good community members. Heck, they may be on land that their parents or their grandparents owned, and snowmobiling has been a part of their life since they can remember. So we have this incredible network of generous landowners out there who are being told every which way not to do it because of trespassing, because of insurance, because of liability, but they continue to do it. And so I think what you'll see from my team now that I'm back and we're going to recommit to this is finding the right partnerships where we can amplify the resources we have available, put them together, and really create landowner recognition programs, landowner appreciation programs that can go to the clubs, that will basically fund or allow the clubs to build in those proper programs in the past. I have a former governor of the Offsc who told me once that one of the best things they ever did, and Gary, it's out your way actually, probably a little bit further west than you are. They bought some leather work gloves for their landowners, and they
That's
were
us.
etched with
That's
Offsc. And
ours. Yeah.
And he said, 10 years later, he still sees them in the field. He still sees farmers using them and wearing them. And like I said, they don't need much. They don't want much. They just want to be recognized. So I think that's what we have to embrace is the fact that whatever we can do, we should do. And if we can amplify what we can do through partnerships with OEMs, with local businesses, with really anyone, we're going to have a situation where the landowners are feeling like they're appreciated, like they should be.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, no,
you hit the nail on the head.
Yep, and the gloves is funny because it's such a small thing, and this year they started knocking on doors, and we just picked up the gloves on Saturday, so they started knocking on doors previous to this with the intention of taking in the maple syrup. We do bottles of syrup too for the bigger owners, and the gloves for them as well. And with the intention of taking the gloves back, and the wives go, "What? No gloves this year?" or something like that. So they're looking for it. And it's something so simple, but yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So
That's good.
Thanks
and
for
they
answering
don't ask
that
for
question.
much.
No. But they asked for quiet, right? So, and actually, just as a little tidbit here for people, last week I think there was about $40 worth of super chats came in, and I actually did something with that money. I donated it right back to our club in the form of quiet zone signs. So when you see those, if you come in my area, that's courtesy of you guys, the super fans. So thank you so much. So I'll probably keep Jesse's money today, though. I need some snowmobile parts. So
there you go.
I saw a question in the chat there about can the Offsc give money to for those appreciations, and the answer is yes. I mean, that's part of that's part of the normal funding. It's an allowable expense that that the clubs are able to spend on through our agreement with the government. Obviously the bigger picture is with finite resources, where do you spend it? Do you spend it on a sign, or do you spend it on a pair of gloves? So I think that's why we have to look at a bigger picture and say we have all these things that seem different and disconnected, but they're all equally important. The safety is important. The appreciation is important. Heck, thanking volunteers is important. Again, we're not, you're not paying volunteers. You're thanking them. So you're not writing them a check. You're doing something that they leave there saying, my time has been valued and I feel appreciated. So I think all of that has to go into the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild.
It's nice to see too, even on social media. I think Gary, you and I were talking about it earlier. I've talked to so many people today about the OFSC and whatnot. Seeing all the different clubs getting so many different volunteers out this season. For some reason, I don't know, maybe it seems a lot more this season. And also reading the positive stories of us gaining trail access back that were shut down over the past few years. So, unfortunately with media and social media, they focus always on the bad stuff. But it's nice. The last couple of months, I've been seeing a lot of good in regards to trails reopening up and volunteers getting out and helping. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, and this is the exciting part of the year, right? Like this is when you start to see everything take shape, and folks are pulling their sleds out of the garage, and the groomers are coming out for their preseason checks, and the mood on social media is very positive right now, and I think we have to ride that into the season.
Yeah, for
sure. Yeah, keep the ball rolling, so to speak. So. Yeah, no, great. Here, I'm going to get back to this fan photo segment here. We got lots of pictures to go through. This is from @sled519. He says he was lost in a blizzard somewhere north of St. Mary's. My buddy snapped this picture of me using the Offsc app trying to figure out where the hell we were. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Trying to figure out. Actually, he's probably pulling in the OFSC app to figure out where he is at.
Yeah, that's where he is. That's what he was doing. He said he's on the OFSC app. But you know what? He's in the chat, so he must have made it back. But I love that F7. It's a ZR900.
ZR900. I love that sled.
Yeah, cool. He's got a nice wrap on his too. Cool. And then this is Trent Campbell. He says this is last year, 2020, on Prince Edward Island on the Grand River, West Prince. Beautiful day to open up the throttle. LOL. He says.
Nice one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Love that color. You don't see that much.
No, you don't. Yeah, orange. Did he say where that was?
That one there?
The one prior. Yeah, where is it?
Yeah, Prince Edward Island on the West Prince, on Grand River, West Prince.
Nice.
So there you go. Nice. These are photos from Muskoka, Rich. We didn't see that. We didn't see that tunnel when you and I were out, but that's the tunnel underneath Highway 11.
Oh,
pretty awesome.
I scratched my brand new mission on that damn.
Yeah, you did.
I was bent over as far as I could. I thought, I made it. And then I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's always that little last bump that gets you. Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. So
it's outside of Port Sydney, right?
Yeah, this is Port Sydney. You know what? These pictures, this next picture, I'm leaving right now, going snowmobiling. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Along the same section.
Yeah, and then he says he picked up this. He said he picked up this 2022 Polaris Adventure 550 fan for this year. He's looking forward to the trails this year.
Nice sled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. That is a tourer. You'll be able to pull some miles on that, and it'll sip gas with a little 550 in it. It'll be great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm just curious, is this I wonder if Odie got the same promotion when he bought his new sled with the free outhouse. You get a free Johnny on the spot with every purchase.
John Sand. Oh, you got free advertisement right there.
Yeah, for sure. And then I started this one. These are I call this the club volunteer section. So nice. I started it with Dreamwork makes a teamwork. And this is a photo from inside the bed of my little UTV that I was driving last year. So I had all the signs in there. I thought that looks really cool. I'll take a picture. I'll probably use it for something. Well, I finally got to use it.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Oh
So
yeah, those signs
this
get
is
good use. That's for sure.
yeah, this is us. This is New Dundee Snowmobile Club, and that's my son Drew right there.
Yeah,
And that's my buddy. That's my buddy Moose giving 2 thumbs up, and then another young lad over here. He's pounding in the stakes. We got to let them do all the work, right?
Absolutely.
And then we have one of the wardens just keeping everything under tight supervision. So we have
Ooh, it's got a
another
nice-
mountain admin here. Hold on.
Right. Lots coming out now.
Derek A. Thank you so much, Derek A. He says, after being away from the sport for 6 years, excited to get into it and pick up his new Renegade XRS 900 TR with Smarties. You guys get me pumped. Can't wait to hit the trails in Ontario and Quebec. And we're going to talk to you about how to get to Ontario if you're from the States or wherever you're coming from. We're going to talk about that and what's involved. And Ryan's going to fill us in on all that. So, man, that's awesome. Thank you, Derek. That's amazing. Appreciate that.
That's got to be one of the higher ones, Gary, I think, so far.
I think it is. It might be a record. I do have a thing. If you get $100, I've got a special treat that we can arrange. It was easier last year when I was in the other studio, but they make her happen.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that's I want to just point out with this picture too about the dealership. And it's not just my zone. It's every zone. I know Corey Brock, Energy Power Sports. They provide UTVs and Can-Ams for ATVs and side-by-sides to use on trails. We have here we have TVM and we have Air Turf and Track with the little Bobcat that we're seeing there. So
nice.
Yeah, without the dealer involvement, man, like a lot of this stuff couldn't happen. You know,
no, that's how you get all the stuff out, right?
Yeah, we bring our own ATVs if we can, but these little workhorses make it a lot better. So here I am. They let me use the power drill because I don't have long hair, so it wasn't going to get tangled up. Safety first, and Ryan, I'm putting that in the right spot, right?
That looks pretty good. You took your drill safety course before you went out.
I did, and I got steel toes on. You can see there, right there. That steel-toed shoes, so we're good. And Moose there, Moose there, he's showing us how to pound in a wooden stake, and then he yells at me because he says the first frost they all pop out, the ones that I hammer in because I'm too weak. But that's Moose. So sometimes now, Rich Outdoors, sorry, buddy. And then this is me. I'm just giving the thumbs up while I'm, staking a section of trail, and you know how Abitibi Canyon has its own little power lines. We've got our own too in New Dundee. We got our hydro cut. And here's Drew, his first ride in a Lynx. I told him it was a Lynx snowmobile, even though it was a Bobcat side by side. So yeah. He thinks he was on a Lynx, but don't tell him any different. But yeah, so this is through the hydro cut. So it's pretty amazing when you see these trails in the summertime as opposed to in the wintertime when you're flying through here at 50 kilometers an hour or less. It's a lot.
Now, did you guys get out and already put that stuff up, Gary, or is this from last year?
No, this is from last year.
Yeah, okay.
We got third weekend in November. We're still waiting for beans and corn and stuff to come off.
Yeah, to finish up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of planning going on right now. And one of the guys in our club meeting said it best, Ryan, you'll love this. He said, everybody that buys a permit, because you hear a lot of bitching online from people, right? He said, everybody that buys a permit, they should have to knock on a landowner's door and ask to put a trail through their property before they can take a permit.
Yeah.
And it's true because it's not as easy as you think, right?
Yeah. And it's, I look at what my job is, and my job is to basically put out, actually my job is technically one of the components is to make the organization as much money as possible selling trail permits, right? And that's through marketing, that's through selling the experience. We are, for all intents and purposes, a tourism organization. We're selling an experience. We're trying to encourage people to get on the trails and ride safely and buy permits. But the whole volunteer aspect of this, and I've shared the story, but I'll share it again. So anyone who is in the little District 6 10-15 minute chat I gave last week while my kids were running around and fighting the dog behind me would appreciate this. But about 2 years ago, I was invited to speak at a conference in Cleveland, and it was a conference of CEOs from major industries from the Great Lakes area. So basically, a lot of the folks that are on this call today, where they're riding and where they live. And I sat up on stage and I talked about snowmobiling being a 12-month-a-year activity, and folks are looking at me thinking, like, especially some of the folks who had not been to Ontario, thinking, does it really snow in Ontario all year round? And the point was not that we're riding all year; it's that somebody somewhere is doing something snowmobile related in the middle of the summer. And obviously my staff are doing it because that's what we do, but there are volunteers out there fixing bridges. There are folks out there, grading. Like, this stuff happens every single day of the year somewhere in the province. And the same is true in Quebec. And I'm sure the same is true through a lot of our US partners as well. But it really is an incredible endeavor when you think about it. We in Ontario, and this reference would make sense more for our Canadian folks, but we have 30,000 kilometers of trail. That is more longer than there are highways in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is longer than there are total highways and interstates in the entire Great Lakes region. I mean, this is an incredible length of trail. And there was a book that came out, I think last week, and it's by someone who I think was probably one of the best leaders who can speak authoritatively of what it means to not just win, but to lead, to bring groups along for a common goal. His name is Mark Messier. So for your hockey fans out there, you would know who he is. And he said, and his book is called No One Wins Alone, which I think that applies to this organization, organized snowmobiling. No, we can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. Collectively, we need to do it. But his quote was, everybody in the organization is there with the same goal, believing in the philosophy and the vision of the team and the culture. And then you just start chopping wood and carrying water. End quote. I thought it was just, it was so clean and clear. Like, that's what we do. We're here to achieve the same thing, which is get trails ready, right? Get them ready, get people on them. And to do that, you quite literally chop wood and carry water and wade water and do all that fun stuff, right? It truly is an impossible task that somehow thousands of volunteers each year come together to do.
Yeah, it sums
and it's
it up.
easy to take it for granted. That's for sure. Right.
Yeah.
So, but holy crap, Mike Gulas.
Whoa.
He stepped it up.
Coming in tonight, aren't they?
That's a mountain madman there.
Crazy.
Love Mike. He's a biker too. So there we go. Super sticker. Awesome.
Jeez.
We love stickers. That's great. Thank you, Mike. That's cool. Check out his YouTube channel too. He's on the YouTube network as well. Yep. So that's cool. We got to get back into these photos. We're going to be here all night, man. Thank you so much, Mike. That's awesome. Now, where did I go here? I'm throwing off guard now for sure.
Wow, Christy gets a double feature.
Right?
Oh yeah, she's good.
She must know someone.
That's right. There she is. This is Stony Keppel rider, Christy Carson. She's in the house right now. So she says, here's some of my club volunteers. If I'm not too late, she sent this 12:15 p.m., not noon. The one with the crew in the orange is the ATV club. That's the next slide. And it's us working together on a shared rail line. So these pictures are, you can't, if no one's volunteered, you can't imagine how fun it is. It actually really is. But Ryan, I want you to comment as well, because it is a hard thing. Like, I found it really difficult to volunteer. And, I check that box off. I used to check it off every year when I bought my pass. What's involved in when you do check that box? It doesn't necessarily get back to the club, does it?
It does, yeah. It goes back through the district and to the club, and that's really how our clubs generate their volunteer list. So volunteering can be, as involved as going out and, redecking a bridge or doing, some brushing, or it could be doing a cleanup. It could be, helping out at the clubhouse. It could be, it doesn't have to be, an every weekend type of thing. And I'm sure every club out there in organized snowmobiling would welcome an extra hand, even if just for a couple hours or a day. Many hands make light work. So so when you buy your permit in Ontario, clicking the club, it does allow, if you agree to have your information shared with the club and you agree to have them contact you, it does go directly to them, and it allows the club to reach out and try to engage you in obviously the fun part of the club and the social side of it, but also the volunteer side of it as well.
Yeah, wow, that's good. Well, I always wonder, but we got another house cleaning.
Holy crow, man! Thanks,
the
guys.
The Mountain Madmen are coming out tonight.
That's awesome.
And you know what? There is no cans allowed on the trail, so that's on the lake, Ryan. We know that. So he says, Gary Rich, thanks for the work that goes into these sessions. Great information and a guest. He says, where's Bobby? Keep up the great work. We're going to try and have Bobby on as a featured guest coming up. So stay tuned on that. So yeah, for sure. We all miss him.
Yeah.
And then Corey Brock says, how does the OFSC delegate what clubs get new groomer and what clubs get more funds and so on?
That's a good question.
Really good question. We have a big lottery ball that we throw all the club. No, I'm just kidding. We we have a dartboard. This program, as you see it today, actually goes back to 2018 in its when we created what it looks like. And really what it is it's my staff going out to the districts at the end of each season and getting their input on basically their top 3-4 needs, wants from a grooming perspective. So identify your priorities, identify your drags, identify groomers that are good to be refurbished, identify groomers that are probably past their life and they're not useful in terms of parting or any other on-trail activities, so they would be surplus. And then basically determining through our board what our budget is for new purchases. So once we kind of have a sense of all that, we're able to develop a budget. Obviously, the budget is dependent on the success or lack of success of the previous season's permit sales, which is our primary revenue source. But it all goes back in, and we come up with a plan that seeks to address at least one or two of the major priorities of each district. And we try to do it through new groomer acquisition, which, as I'm sure you can appreciate, is becoming more and more expensive by the year. But we've had great success in our refurbishment program, which is now in year 3. And this year we're putting about $750,000 into, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think it's like 30 or 40 or 50 groomers that we're touching in some sort of significant way this year. So all of those items go in, we get feedback from the districts, which the district feedback is populated by their grooming and fleet committee, which is made up of club members. So it really is a collaborative process, and that has yielded really good results for us, because it's not just let's buy 16 new groomers, everybody gets one. It's building a plan that meets the needs of our system, that meets the needs of grooming, the terrain you're in, the snowfall accumulation you get, the remoteness of the grooming routes, and it really has worked well. And I think what has been really key in this program over the last few years is having not just having the program kicked off, but being flexible. If you get a groomer in there that you had pegged $30,000 for, and the shop comes back and says it's $65,000, well, maybe it's not worth it anymore. Maybe it's something that we can put aside to use for another project. And on top of all that, once we have the plan and we've delivered all of these projects, we also have a handful of spares strategically located around the province that we're able to put into action at any club or any district when breakdowns happen. happen. And I say when because anybody who has driven a groomer or been part of a club knows it happens. It's part of the game. So having those resources available is key, but also having money in the budget to be able to float them without, you know, having to sit there saying, shoot, I need to get this on, you know, on this loop tomorrow, but we didn't budget for it. What are we going to do? So it's all kind of working backwards from the spring to I guess about now, making sure we've addressed the major problems, making sure we have new groomers on the way, and making sure that we're putting the proper resources into a program that will sustain our fleet. And the last thing I'll say on that, and I know many of you are either in farmers or engaged with the agriculture community, farmers don't buy new groomers or new tractors every year. They take care of them, right? They invest in them, they maintain them. And not to say that this organization didn't do that, but we never had we were relying, I think, on the goodwill of many of our volunteers who for many years were able to come in and fix these problems. But, you know, where you used to be able to walk into your groomer shed and bang around with a wrench for a couple hours and fix it, you're now plugging in a Mercedes-Benz engine into a computer. Well, you know, who has the diagnosis equipment in their computer? Well, it's probably the techs from, you know, from Germany that come over here and look at it. So I think the technology side of grooming has changed to a point where this program, a more sophisticated, very intentional, deliberate approach is needed, and it's still very much in its infancy.
Yeah, it works well though. Like you said, though, if there's a breakdown somewhere, you can quickly move a groomer to especially in a hotbed area, you know, Cochrane or anywhere else that's got a lot of traffic area, right? So that's good. Makes sense.
Oh, for sure. Christy Carson actually, she answered something that I asked earlier. She said, if your local club, this goes for Canada and US too, right? If your local club isn't posting regularly to Facebook about volunteer opportunities, maybe you can volunteer to run their social media. Corey Brock does that with his club now. And she says that's how she got started. Just force your way in. So yeah, it's crazy because I used to see the New Dundee guys coming back from a hard day of work and all their ATVs loaded up and going like, I want to help. I want to help. And it's like, so finally I worked my way in. Maybe I was just too in their face, and, you know, but no, you really got to do like fill out that box and hopefully they'll contact you. But sometimes they won't contact you. I wasn't getting contacted, but if you find the right people in the club, then you can work your way in like that. But social media should be a big part of it. And a lot of clubs aren't doing that right now. And I think it's a good thing if you end up being a guy like Corey that steps it up and starts posting. And I think this winter he has a lot of plans with it, and it'll help build awareness on the trails and what problems they might be having and what wins they have and what losses they have too. So it all comes around. So
you guys had a busy area down your way last year, Gary, because I know Port Perry. I mean, I don't remember the last time I was able to ride from Port Perry up to Lindsay and back. So it was
there hasn't been trails in that good a shape in, I'm going to say 30 years. It was incredible how good the trails were. And I tried to explain that to my son. I mean, I don't know that maybe we'll see another year like that this year, but I wouldn't expected to see another year in our area like that, like we had last year.
Hopefully it will.
It's pretty dynamite. Yeah. But hey, our buddy Dustin, he's in the house.
Oh, right on. Nice.
He is. Oh wait, that's not the right sound effect for $10. $10. He moves up to the. Where is it there? Oh, that is the right sound effect. He's a ditch banger. So he says, here's some American dollars your way. It should help those blown up Ski-Doo parts. LOL. Keep up the awesome snowmobile sessions. Cheers, boys. Cheers to you, Dustin. That's great. Thank you so much, man. Love it. So yeah, Stony Keppel Riders Clubhouse is awesome. Like, look at that place, Rich.
Yeah, it's nice.
Isn't that dynamite? So,
yeah.
And go out and, you know, we talk a lot about trail work, which is the hard part of volunteering, right? The more labor intensive. But if you're not quite ready for that and you're nervous about meeting people, because, you know, the whole joke about how do you make friends when you're an adult? How do you make new friends when you're scared, you know, talk to people, right? keep an eye out for social events this upcoming season, trailside barbecues, stuff like that. Pop by and meet some people, and that might be your introduction, into the club, and build off of there. There's so many opportunities to go in, meet some people, see some new faces, and just build off of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good point too. So actually, Corey's got another question here. He says, how much did the OFSC play a part in closing the North Bay trails last season?
None. So the OFSC was not part of the decision making to close it.
Right.
Obviously, the OFSC fought to have it remain open. That was exclusively a local health unit decision, and one that was obviously not very popular. So we don't expect that. In fact, we've asked if we should be preparing for any of that, and the answer is, for this year, not likely. So I wasn't with the organization during that, but I can tell you that the folks that were here were pushing hard on the provincial government, but the authority lies within the health unit, and that was a decision that gentleman made on which will not win him any votes for sure.
No, he didn't mind cross country skiing on it though with all his buddies. Sorry, I had to say that. Couldn't snowmobile, but him and his buddies could cross country ski. Sorry, I had to throw that in.
And is there anything you can do to stop that? Like, I mean, it looks like we're on a good path. I mean, they had a good announcement last week that things are going to, like, we're already up to capacity now, full capacity in restaurants, and they're talking about no masks in January, and that, we're looking like we're heading the right direction on this. But is there anything that we can do to prevent things like that from happening and down the road?
I don't think so. I think just naturally we are working our way out of this, and folks are now getting a better sense of what's okay and what's not. I mean, the reality is an outdoor activity like snowmobiling should have been allowed across the country, right? It was everything that they were telling us to do, which was spend time outside, social distance. Well, that is snowmobiling in a nutshell. So so I don't expect anything like that to come up this year. The vaccine passports will likely remain through the season, and that will obviously create an inconvenience for folks that aren't vaccinated. But other than that, I don't foresee any public health measures that are negative at this time, anyways.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
thanks for answering that. Hey, Ryan, I got to tell you, you are answering things head on. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
Not shying away from everything, giving us really clear, concise answers.
Yep.
There's no questions here of what people are asking and answering. So thank you for that. So,
no, my pleasure.
Yeah. So this is from our buddy John Enright at the Haliburton Snowmobile Association, Haliburton County Snowmobile Association. He says this could be called In Search of a Contact Lens somewhere in Haliburton.
You know what? If John's on, I should tell him that I used the syrup he dropped off at our office a couple of weeks ago. Yesterday morning, it was very good. So thank you, John.
Nice. Yeah, him on the phone whacking a fresh 1,000-yard reroute on the trail of Top Trail B near Algonquin Park. So think about that, 1,000-yard reroute.
They don't ask for much, just some cookies, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Baked goods are from the Top B Bakery, he said. He says, P.S. we've done 3 fresh bridge decks in 4 weeks. Isn't that incredible?
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's wild. But
Ryan, can you? Sorry,
he's got a question though. Just one thing. Yep. Yeah. He says, ask Ryan what OFSC is doing to support clubs in getting people with no gray hair involved. Millennials, he says.
Well, they first thing they did was hire a handsome CEO.
Nice.
So that's helpful, right? It really, really good question, and I think bigger picture conversation. Volunteerism is down across the board. It's not just snowmobiling. It is in every organization, Lions clubs, Freemasons, whatever it is that people once committed their time to, even minor sports, minor hockey, minor soccer, you're always looking for people. So is it a societal thing? Is it the next generation of people are not willing or don't have the time to commit. I don't know, but I think it's something that we can continue to use social media to reach them with, be able to leverage the networks that they are engaging on, that they want to engage on to do it. I mean, the old days of, you stop by the clubhouse and now you're president of the club. Well, that's not happening anymore, right? These folks aren't coming by the clubhouses, so we have to bring them there. And we got to bring them there in a way that we're going to keep them and engage them. So I think it's a multi-pronged approach, right? We need clubs that are open and accepting of fresh blood, and I believe most are. We have the next generation, and I see Mike putting in there about the licensing. I think that's a great point. We have folks being able to get their license or operator's license online now, which is the place where folks want to get them, at least the new generation, and accessible all year round. So you're not losing a whole season for someone whose birthday was late or after the trails closed. But I think largely just bringing people in, showing them the community side of it, engaging them on a personal level, showing them the social side, the fun side, and how it all kind of works together. There is no perfect answer, but it's certainly a challenge that every volunteer-based organization is grappling with today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mike says his daughter got her snowmobile license last season. She really enjoyed the online test. Her biggest concern was, does she need a printed paper license until she's 16, or is there a hard copy?
So she should get her license in the mail. There is a hard copy. If Mike, if you have not received anything and you've only received kind of the confirmation after the test, then please reach out to our office and we can sort that out and get a replacement license.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Drew had a little piece of paper, like a little cardboard one that he got in the mail. Yeah. So,
and that might change. I mean, the government is keen on. Obviously, we're seeing digital passports, vaccine passports, and stuff like that, and other digital changes. We may be seeing digital licenses as well in the very near future for different motorized vehicles. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Ty says, is a classic permit set at 20 years old or at 99 and down? Is it gonna stay that way?
Yeah, so it's classic permits refer to snowmobiles within a model year of 1999 and earlier. Okay. And older, and it is going to stay that way. For now, at least, the board has kind of set a date on that, and the reason being was around that 2000 year, and this is I wasn't around in 2000, but with the organization, but this is the continued belief of our board. Snowmobiles became a little bit more reliable. They were able to put on more miles. They were able to kind of be part of your normal rotation. So as those, we don't want to keep moving that number upwards because it seems to be taking away from people buying these seasonal permits. So whether that classic stays at 1999 or not will be the decision of the board. But for right now and for this season, it will be at 1999 and older.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
2000 when the rev platform came out.
He came in
right on,
with $2.79. Right on. Thanks, buddy. He's done more than that though too, because he gave me a donation for some templates online earlier this week too. Nice. So really appreciate that, Anthony. He sent me some. He's a young guy. He's a young lad. He sent me some videos of him after he installed his link brackets with the old thumbs up and showing some love. So that's great. So yeah, for sure. So and there's one Brian, question Corey Brock asked, but I don't know whether I want to ask it. Rich, did you see that question about the? Corey said, yeah. Why did you get rid of the free weekend? Not that I liked it. He's curious. And I said, Corey, the question should be, how do we make sure it never comes back?
So I can take, I'll say credit. Everything is a board decision, but I can take credit for that because in 2019, that was our recommendation to the board, was that folks were taking advantage of that free weekend and then maybe buying a 1 weekend multi-day, and that was the extent of it. And they were getting, they were maybe riding an additional weekend, maybe not, but the organization was losing significant revenue because of that 2-day free weekend. So I was very pleased when we sent that to pasture. I think it's a sport where we can't penalize the folks that commit to these full season permits by putting the free weekend on almost annually the best weekend of snowmobiling.
Yeah.
It overcrowded the trails. It caused a lot of damage because there were people out there that didn't know how to ride and hadn't ridden before, and or folks were using it to skirt having to pay a full season. So I know there's a lot of social media out there that permits are too expensive. Again, it's the cheapest part of your snowmobiling experience, and I think they provide really, really good value on that pricing. Could we go to the pricing level of Quebec? No, I don't think so. Certainly not. We couldn't make that jump right now. And Quebec has some built-in advantages with weather and stuff like that, and snow patterns. But I think at the pricing we have right now, and with that $5 increase we implemented this year, we still have an exceptionally well-priced permit that serves everyone well if you're committed to going out, more than 1 weekend a year.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
good.
So
Yeah. I got a question
Anything
for you, Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Go ahead,
the Go
Rich.
Snowmobiling Ontario app is awesome. It's been improving over the years. Is there anything you can talk about? I know it launches December 1st, but is there anything you can talk about if there's anything, any upgrades that are going to happen to it? I can't see anything huge, but is there anything that you can touch bases on in regards to the app?
Yeah, there actually are, and if you give me about 30 seconds, I can pull up more of a detailed overview of it that I did for one of our town halls earlier.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, the app was actually one of the things that I talked about when I interviewed for the role back in 2018, and I had a little bit of an inside track on this talking point. Because one of the club members, who's a good family friend, said, "We need the app. I will support you if you bring the app back." So I remember sitting down in the interview with the executive and saying, "I'm going to bring back the app." And they were like, "Oh, okay." Well, I'm like, "No, it's coming back, and it's coming back for this season." And I was interviewing in May at that time for for the upcoming season. So yeah, so the app is. The app is communicating with people with the next generation, even the current generation, where they want to communicate, and that's on their smartphone. So we actually have a ton of new enhancements, and I'll kind of give you the quick overview. So the first one is around gaining new trail information, and if you activate this feature, mobile users will actually be able to contribute data to the administration map, so the back end. This is that crowdsourced component that I talked about when we were referencing the BRP app and the Polaris app. We like crowdsource when it doesn't conflict with our trails, and we can use crowdsourced data when there's some sort of screening process. So what this is going to be able to do when you're on the trail is you're going to be able to flag gas station, lodges, restaurants, any type of POI. That's going to go back into our district administration. They're going to be able to kind of read through it and decide if it's good or not. They may be able to flag it with the local club, who can reach out to them to see if they'll support and be part of the network. But that should ease some of the burden and make sure that the POIs we have on our app, the right hours of operation are on there. I mean, you don't want to get to a gas station running empty and it's locked up and no one's there. So those type of items I think will be pretty cool. We have the ability to, and this is kind of boring on the back end, but we talked about the closure of the trails last year in the North Bay Parry Sound area. We now have the ability to push communications out to you in the event we need to. So that is hopefully we don't have to use it. I don't want to use it, but in the event something catastrophic happens, like a trail closure that's immediate, we can push that out to certain people. We can also push video. So anyone who has purchased a permit this year would have watched a video about trespassing, and we're
Yeah, we mentioned that. That was a great idea.
Yeah. So that we can now do that. We can now push videos through the app, marketing videos. If there's a local, club doing an event, perhaps we can do a video and push that through. So it just gives us some extra ability. But now let's talk about kind of the consumer facing, or what you guys would see on the trail. The new view, or the map face. So being able to have satellite view now is going to be an option for you. And I know that was a big one last year, and it's always about data, right? It's always how big are these data files, and how can you manage it on your phone. Satellite view is going to be available, so you're going to be able to switch between your base map and your satellite view. That's going to be available both on the web version and the mobile app. And the satellite view will work while you have access to internet.
Awesome.
The next one is just talking, and I'll this one will make our social media influencers on this podcast happy. Our friend Nuns out there, who's going to be able to check in on social media. You're going to be able to kind of share all your current locations, share great spots.
Nice.
With all the major social media platforms, so that's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
This is one. The last couple ones I think you'll like. Trail status. So you're gonna actually be able to, I'll call it subscribe, but set up notifications on your favorite trails. So let's say you have a feeder trail that you typically use to get to the main trail. You're going to be able to set up a notification, and it'll tell you when the status of that trail has changed. So it won't tell you in your pop-ups that it's green, red, or yellow, but what it will say is it's changed, and you'll be able to go in, and it'll flag it for you basically. So it'll hopefully be an incentive to get you out on the trail.
Nice.
Nice. And then last item, you're going to be able to manage your downloaded maps. So obviously, again, we're talking about connectivity and cell service and all that stuff. You're going to be able to download like map centers, district centers, and have it in your app to access offline, and you can actually view it in HD. So it'll all be stored locally. So
that's great.
That's kind of the gist of what we're going for this year. But my vision for it is to really turn it into a social engagement piece. And I think maybe it goes to the question about how do we engage young people. Yep. If you're a downhill skier, heck, if you're, I think by the beers you guys are drinking, you're craft beer enthusiasts, there are apps out there that track that stuff, right? That you check off when you've tried it, where you check off when you've gone down a certain ski hill. All of these features, the gamification of the app, are in the dev phase right now for us, because we want to make it so you guys can share. Hey, I rode 5,000 kilometers this year, and I've hit all of the districts and all of the main trails, and you have that logged, and it becomes a little bit like a game, friendly competition that creates basically your virtual record of where and when and what you did over the season.
Nice.
That
awesome. Sounds like you've added quite a bit to the app this year. That's great.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah,
things. That's great.
You
That's
know what?
Awesome.
It like Rich says, it's evolved so much in the past few years, and I remember using it, but I just have it and use it maybe at home, and then last year I found, and I've used Ride Command a lot. And the Ride Command has this report snow conditions and that kind of thing that you can put on. And I don't really follow that. But last year it was like, I seen more people using that app, like the gentleman that sent in the picture earlier. And I've even found us pulling it out because we wanted to check the real deal. You know what I mean? Like what is the real trail here? Where do we really have to go? And that's something that only the Offsc can provide. So kudos to you, Ryan. That's amazing. Like if you and your team are responsible for this app, it's only going up, and it's going up fast. So I think what you're doing is really great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And that's the partners we work with, Map Gears. The nice thing is we have a really willing partner who's as ambitious as we are in the app. So when we push them to do something, they are also working with the other provinces in Canada and many U.S. Federations as well. So collectively, we're all kind of gaining together, which is great. If we develop something with them, then everyone else will get it. If Quebec's a bad example, they use someone else, but if another province develops something with them, we will benefit from it as well. So it's this nice kind of collaborative approach amongst federations in North America that is really pushing us technologically forward.
That is a good question. Now I know there's a option on the Quebec app that shows you live where they're grooming and that. Do you think you could see something like that coming to the OFSC eventually down the road, or is that logistically too hard? Like, I don't know what they use on their app and how it's, because it's kind of handy when you're traveling in Quebec and you're like, okay guys, where are we going to go today? And it actually tells you the groomer's heading out this and grooming that trail. So it would be nice to see something like that. But again, logistically, I don't know how all that stuff works. So
yeah, technologically, it's not hard.
Okay.
The systems can do it. The issue is always liability. So if we were to do it, and we started these conversations a couple years ago, and it was a little late in the season to do it, but it's technically possible. The issue, it was always, when do you report it? So we can't report it live because we don't want people chasing groomers, and we don't necessarily, want that live footage or live tracking of it. But we can have a delay, and that's what Quebec does, which is it shows when it's, I believe they have different bands. It's been groomed in the last hour, groomed in the last 5 or 6 hours. That is something that is absolutely feasible that we could do, to show, hey, the B trail has been groomed in the last 24 hours. So I think that's certainly possible. That saves us from the liability of people chasing groomers, and it also, I think, appeases our volunteers and groomer operators who don't want to be able to have that available. So it won't happen this year, but it's entirely possible.
Corey had a good question here. Why did the OFSC get rid of the stop officers, the trail patrol?
Yeah, again, liability. The law enforcement agents in the province basically said you can't be enforcers. You're not law enforcement. You're not deputized. We're talking about the stop program, and trail patrol. So the possibility of conflict, and conflict did happen out on the trails. I mean, fortunately, no one was hurt, and fortunately, no one got seriously injured in anything. But it was the whole thing of, we're sending folks out there with nothing more than a vest, and we're telling them to enforce trails. That's not the volunteer's job. It shouldn't be their responsibility. So that was put to a stop by our law enforcement partners. But I think as the program has evolved, you can still become a special constable. It basically requires you to become a full-time or go through the full officer training. But the trail patrol program, I think, is going to be more effective, and this is an evolving situation to bring it back. You don't have to be you don't have to enforce to be effective. You can be visible, you can be seen, you can have a trailside barbecue, you can offer help and directions, and be a good neighbor. All of those things help compliance, because when they see you out there, they're either going to turn around if they don't have a permit, and or people in their group are going to shame them for not complying or riding off trail. So I think right now, in addition to working with the OPP and the local law enforcement that patrol, to help get them data to inform their patrols, which is key, because again, they're looking at 30,000 kilometers and saying, I got 2 constables in my detachment that are able to go out, that are trained on snowmobiles. We have 2 snowmobiles, so at any given time I can have 2 officers out there on special risk duty, weather dependent. And the whole concept that we're working on with them is, how do we give you better data to show you where the problem areas are, to show you where speeding is happening, to show you where off-trail riding is happening, and that's going to evolve as this app can can help track that if you agree to it. There's going to be lots of opportunities for us to use technology to help enhance their efforts, so they're focusing on the problem areas and not so much, spending a day on a trail and they see one person. So so that's kind of the evolution of that. But Trail Patrol is back, and they're just not in the enforcement game.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Bobby O had a question. He said, we need to have a dummy app so we can show the wives. No, I never stopped at any bars, honey. Look at my trail map app.
No comment on that one.
Right.
I love that. Fanny's is now called Eastside Mario's.
Uh-oh.
Slowby will get that.
Slowby knows that. North
Yeah,
Bay.
exactly. We're getting Slowby up to North Bay this year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Anthony Palermo, he gave me some more love here.
Jeez. There you go.
I hate doing this manually. It's bad. He says, I usually ride in the States, but where is your guys' favorite places to ride in Ontario? So I know Ryan can't be biased because he's got to represent.
No. Let's hear. Let's see in the chat where the favorite places are, and I can, I can fill in some of the gaps.
I'll start it. The Halliburton's a great spot. Mattawa's awesome. North Bay's awesome. Anywhere in Muskoka is awesome.
Cochrane's amazing. Yeah.
Cochrane, I've never been, but that's
Timmins,
a hot spot.
New Liskard, a lot of good places.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, how does it, so you've got all these small snowmobile clubs, but then you've got Halliburton County Snowmobile Association. They're an association. How does that work?
It's a little bit of a throwback to when grooming associations were happening. There once was a time when folks would collectively get together and create these associations and groom larger areas. Grooming is now kind of managed at the district level now, so that has changed a little bit. But we've got clubs, as few as a dozen or so people, and we've got huge clubs, particularly in the eastern part of Ontario, that have been around for a long time and are very well established in the community. HCSA being one of the local reps. So
nice. We got more pictures to show here, so I'm just going to get back into that. So keep asking the questions, guys and girls. It's
that was good.
It's you guys are killing it out there, man. I'm telling you, we love it. All right, so we had the cookies. This is from Nunzio. He says these are for the past couple of seasons and Snowcrest Riders Volunteer Appreciation Ride. We organized with our team to go out and enjoy a day of riding the trails. We all work hard on maintaining and looking for ideas to improve the trails. Last season, we toured from Gravenhurst to Baysville and looped back through Bracebridge and back to Gravenhurst again. So, fun bunch of guys there.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to remove Nunzo's comment about going to Gaspé as his favorite place to ride. That is,
that's not Ontario.
That doesn't sound like that's in Ontario to me.
Well, he's got Northern Corridor there too, right? So
yeah, I saw that. Well, he's even, so we'll see what his next move is.
Yeah, he's a good guy to ask. He's pretty much rode everywhere. The Addicts, Jesse and Mike and they've ridden pretty much all of Ontario as well, so they'd be a good one to rely on too. So yeah, it's great. But this is what it's about right here. This picture right here is what club riding's all about,
Yeah. There's Nunz's new sled last year.
Yeah, you go at your own pace and away you go. So this is from our buddy Corey Brock from Hillsburg Snow Roamers. He says, "Hey Gary, spent my day yesterday detailing my club, the Hillsburg Snow Roamers 2017 John Deere groomer and drag. Thought I'd share something a little different than a sled photo. Just a little fact, the tracks on this groomer cost $70,000. Also had to paint or repair. We had to do mid-season last winter. And he said, let the trail install begin for 2022 season. Also just want to thank all the other volunteers that make our trail system great in Ontario. Cheers, Gary. Keep the sessions going and ride on." But isn't that a thing of beauty?
Yep. That is nice. I saw that on Facebook. Yeah.
And there he is. There's a little repair that they did, and he's got the primer going there. So, yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna pull it out of Ontario now. We're gonna go to Troy Parks. He's from the Alberta Beach Club. He says, Gary, here's some pics that maybe kind of go with tonight's show's theme on snowmobile clubs. It's just some shots from last season from the Alberta Beach Club doing some of our trail cleanups and building up a snow ramp to be able to get sleds up off the lake over the rocks and over a bank onto the trails. So you can see here that the trails look a lot different off season. Like look at the ruts in here and everything. And the next picture is awesome because you always get when the first snow falls and, a week goes by and you see online, why aren't the trails open? Why aren't the trails open? And this is a good example of what some of the clubs experience, because there's so many down trees and downfall and they have no volunteers to take care of it. So it's a few hands making all this heavy work. So that's why you can't get a groomer down there until that tree's gone.
Yeah. And building your base too, right? Like there's so many times where you get snow and could you ride it? Sure. You could probably have a day of riding and it would be destroyed on by Saturday night. But we now look at it and say, what's the sustainable way to do this? Is it to leave it closed for now? Let's build this base. Let's let the temperature drop. Let's get it so when we open it, we're not closing it tomorrow. So many considerations that they have to make in these trails.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and here's another one. They got the chainsaw out. Looks like somebody's drove around the log there, but he's got the train saw out going it. And then the other one's a daytime shot, so they're more downfall. But I don't remember. I can't remember which club it was, but somebody responded that last year that they had miles and miles and miles of just you couldn't even walk down it. There was so much downfall,
so much down trees,
and there was only a handful of volunteers to actually remove it. So it's nice to see. Thanks, Troy, for sending those pictures in, because that just shows you that it's not just Ontario. It's anywhere in Canada, but also the US as well. Many hands make light work.
It's amazing though.
Snow ramp up.
Like Ryan, you mentioned about how it's all year long. I was out on my adventure bike. I guess would have been around beginning of August, and that we came across around a corner, and there was a massive grader out, and it was part of the like it's Crown land, obviously, but it's part of the main OFSC trail. It was pretty cool to see. Wasn't expecting it, So, like you said, there's always work going on. Actually, I sent the email to you, Gary. I know it was late. Meant to send it.
I'll dig it up. Yep.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool to come around the corner on your bike and seeing this huge grader out grading the trails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll look that up, man. I'll try to find that. So, yeah, now we're getting into the good stuff, Ryan. Your photos here.
Well, the photos sent to us from others, but
yeah. And just on that, there's the deadline for discounts for your first discount is November 1st. So, get your permit today. It says save 30%.
Get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
And for those that aren't, for those who have not got their new sled yet, or are waiting for a VIN or something, you can buy a gift card. You can buy a gift card today, lock in your pricing, and then when it takes the pressure off of you and your dealer to deliver your new sled. And the second you get it, you can. There it is. That's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
That's what you got to get.
Yep.
So, lock it in and don't worry about it. You still got another couple weeks before we even think about opening some trails, but grab your gift card so you don't miss out on the early season pricing.
Oh, that's great. Great. Good way to do it. Keeps the guesswork out of it and lets you buy in at that discount rate. And everyone's saying they want to take me up to Tug. Hill. I want to get the Tug Hill. So maybe I don't know whether this year will be the year, but let's see if we can make it happen. So
get down there.
But so I wanted to ask, like, for the USA riders, what what can they do? Like if they're coming up here, what kind of permit options are there for temporary rides?
Lots of options. So it depends, really depends on how long you want to stay. And I think the border opens next week.
Yep.
Week and a half, something like that. So we should be good, assuming there are no changes there. But if you're coming up for the weekend, then we have multi-day passes. It's a minimum of 2 days. That works well for many U.S. riders. And if you're looking to make a week out of it, then really once you get to about between 4 and 6 days, you start to get into, probably just wanting to get a full season permit. So figure out how long you're coming for. The information is on our website. It also depends on when you're buying. Multi-days are available on December 2nd and onwards. So look at it, figure it out, and then take a look at a couple different options as to where you can ride. I mean, it ultimately depends on where you want to cross, and you have upwards of a dozen different crossings and land border crossings into Canada, and corresponding loops. So we have what we call snow tours or snow loops. Each district has them. They can run from shorter day excursions to 710 kilometer, 700 kilometer, 400 kilometer loops. You can really plan your trip around it. And the nice thing is our districts and clubs have built these loops to bring you to not just great food and great lodging, but also pretty incredible panoramics and pretty incredible destinations. So lots of information on our website, lots of information on the Destination Ontario Tourism website. But really, there's riding for every type, every style of riding, to forest, to more technical riding, to wide open hydro fields. You really can find it all. And each destination, each loop is going to be just a little bit different.
Yeah,
that's
there's
great.
some good trails.
How's it
some
different?
Good trips.
Yep. How would you compare it to Upper Peninsula or other places in the U.S.?
I think it's hard to compare, and we always ask about it. What's better, Quebec or Ontario or Ontario or the UP? I think they're all great. I think they're all great in their own way. Each one of our districts really is unique. And the Southwestern Ontario is far different than Northwestern Ontario. So it really just depends what type of riding you're doing. And I would certainly encourage our American friends that are thinking of coming up to try somewhere new. Come up for an extra day, and instead of going north, head east or south from wherever you're crossing, and try out the different types of riding in the province and the different destinations. Gary, one of the questions that we kind of threw back and forth was, can you make it a family affair? What type of lodging is available? All of that plays into, where you want to go. If you're bringing your family and you want them to do something while you're out riding, if they're not riders or sledders themselves, take that into the equation. There's beautiful 5-star resorts in certain districts with spas that may make the missus or husband happy while you're out riding. So take all that into account, really look into it, call the district, call our local districts and talk to them. They are on the ground. They will tell you where the most common areas are, where the most popular areas are, where to stay. But I'll caution you with this. If you're planning, plan early and book your lodging early, because we expect this to be a very, very busy season for people getting out of their local area.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be busy,
yeah,
busy
point.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Now, where do they find the district contact information? Is it on the OFSC website?
Yes, it is. Yeah, all of our information can be found on the website, and you can go from there with it.
And your interactive guide on the website too. You can plan trips in that too, right, Ryan? You can.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our interactive guide, actually, this is a timely podcast. Our guide will go live on Thursday. Breaking news, it'll be on Thursday. Our app won't be live until December 1, but the web-based version will be available on Thursday. Yeah, you can go in and start planning your trip and seeing the different districts. If you just want to find who your district is, you can go onto our website under Go Snowmobiling and click on Find Your District. There'll be contact information, email, phone, website. You'll be able to get all that information there. But truly explore the whole province and try to experience everything that's great about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of good destinations. We're planning on doing just after Christmas, Boxing Day up to New Year's up in Cochrane, hopefully. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Gary, while you're flipping there, I might as well answer the question about insurance and stuff like that. So yeah, you do need insurance. You need proof of insurance up here. And in terms of health insurance, so I was talking sled insurance, but health insurance, you should have health insurance that covers you while out of the country. Right now, there are travel restrictions. It's fully vaccinated travelers coming across the border as of early November. I would suspect that probably stays in place throughout the season. That's a federal mandate. So if you're not fully vaccinated and you're planning on coming up here, I think you will probably need it. And if you are fully vaccinated, be sure to have proof of that when you get to the border. So there's no requirement to be vaccinated on the trail, but there are many establishments, restaurants and stuff like that that are requiring it for dine-in, stuff like that. So just be aware of those public health measures that are in place.
You'll be able to tell your one buddy who's eating outdoors.
That's right. Yeah. Who rode across the river to get in.
Yeah. Here's some matches and firewood and some hot dogs. Start cooking.
Well, I'll wait out here, guys. I'll watch the sleds.
Yeah.
Now the what about passports at the border? That's something they require as well.
Yeah, you'll need your passport to cross. I think all you need is a driver's license to get back, but to get in, you'll need something. You'll need a passport.
Yeah.
So if you manage to get in, you can get back with your driver's license.
Yeah.
Good point. Is this Blue Mountain region here we're looking at?
It looks like it. I actually don't know. I haven't seen the exact pictures that were sent, but this is a kind of a smorgasbord of
nice.
user-generated pictures. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it gives a good cross section of snowmobiling in Ontario. It certainly does, from what I seen earlier. You know, like you're saying, there's a variety of riding for all styles and whether technical or what have you. Now, can we talk about speed limits and off-trail riding? Do you want to address that right now?
Sure. What do we want to talk about? What is the speed limit? Yeah. So in Ontario, the maximum speed is 50 kilometers per hour. There are areas of trail that will be lower based on a tight turn or a tighter corridor. So our speed limit is somewhat lower. There are areas in the province that are more wide open, lakes and stuff like that. But on our trail, it's 50 kilometers.
Yeah. Do you see that? Is there any chance that'll go up to 80 in some zones, or what's the thoughts on that?
My guess would probably be no as a blanket statement. Could there be certain areas that are, I'm thinking like, towards the canyon, some of these larger hydro corridors that are, more than 9 feet. Is that something that the government, again, it's the government that decides that, right? Is it something that they would be open to? Possibly. I mean, they're doing it on our highways right now. They're doing a speed limit pilot study. The issue is always we have non-engineered trails. We have trails that are meet a certain width and are groomed to a certain standard, but it's not a controlled environment. So there are unpredictable things that can happen to any one of these trails at any given time. In a lot of our trails, particularly in the forest areas and the wooded areas, it is fairly technical. There's a lot of turns. There's a lot of maneuvering your sled, And I think the liability worry is less so on, the folks that are on this podcast, because you can probably handle it. It's the folks that whether you should handle it or not, well, it's a different story. But it's the newbies, right? It's the folks that get out there and see 70 or 80 on the sign, do it, and they get to a turn and don't realize that they physically have to turn that sled themselves, right? It's not just power steering on a car that'll do it for you. So that's always the balance test that I think the government looks at, that the insurer looks at. But that's the society we live in now. It's no matter what you do, if you raised it 1 kilometer per hour, our ability to be insured at the level we are would change.
Yeah. I think there was that when Rich and I rode last year, I got up to 51 kilometers an hour. I had to jam the brakes, and Rich said to me when we stopped, like, Gary, like, let's keep going 45 kilometers an hour for the rest of the day. We're not going to win any trophies here. And I went, you know what, Rich, that's right. So we did 49, 48 that day. It was good. It was a good ride.
You should have the save unit knocking on your door shortly here, Gary, with a ticket.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Too funny.
So,
yeah, we got our American friends down there laughing. What? Say that again? 30 miles an hour.
30. Yeah. Mark Bo says, who rides?
Sometimes now 35 miles an hour. Listen,
on
a T-Cat is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Well,
at our trailheads, you've got the Harry Potter book. You can read that while you're driving. So, yeah, Mark Bo said that's a crazy topic. Okay, we're going to leave that topic, but I was just curious if there was any chance that it might go up. You never know on a rail line or whatever, but I get the insurance part of it. So
I would say that would be the most reasonable place where it could be pursued, would be rail lines, large hydro corridors, those type of places.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know what we're looking at here? This looks like a logoed up sled, Ontario, yours to discover. Is that
tourist sled tourism?
Yeah, that might be one of our Destination Ontario partners.
Yeah, it probably is. That's cool. Yeah, don't you love it when they just Lisa springs these photos on you, and you gotta.
Oh, it's perfect.
I
just roll with it. I can tell you what this is. This is a fire, a trailside barbecue on one of our trails.
What is the rules of trailside fires? We did one last year on Crown Land. Is it okay just to light up anywhere, or what's the thinking on that?
I'm not aware of any specific reason why you can't, unless otherwise told not to. You can camp on Crown Land. You can have bonfires if you're camping on Crown Land. So yeah, I believe it's more of just cleaning up after yourselves and making sure the fire's out, and you're not in any special risk area. But a lot of our trails throughout, you'll see clubhouses, which are usually always have a fire going. You've got warm-up shacks, but you've also got a bunch of I don't even know what we'll call them, pergolas or kind of open concept barns that volunteers will pop out in the morning, get a fire going, nice little warm-up areas, and there'll always be someone there to share some coffee or have a chat. So it really is a cool part of this sport. So
yeah, I love it. The one in Algonquin, every time I go up there, there's no fires, and then finally Odie and I went up there and Drew, and Odie goes, "I'll light a fire for you." So he got sticks and he lit a fire in there, and he's always bringing food now. So he cooked up some food, and it's fun. So it's a good way to do the day. I was just curious what the regulations. We actually had a Crown Land map. I got a video on that, and Mike of Muskoka, he got the Crown Land up, found a nice spot to do it, and we had a nice trailside cookout, which was really cool. First time I ever did anything like that. Yeah. So I'll probably do more of it this year. So this is very typical of the Muskoka area and Ontario riding. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, riding through the Canadian Shield and
that's awesome.
Some ice caverns and frozen waterfalls. Yep. And
look at get your permits.
Just jamming that in there, making sure everyone sees it.
It is. Yeah, well, I'm an ambassador, so I'll sprinkle it in anytime I can, right?
Well, Rich
So-
confirmed he purchased his. Gary, can you confirm you have yours? Do I have to pull up the system?
Yeah, you should.
Time's a clicking there,
I
right?
thought I was getting it free for you being on the show tonight. What the heck? As soon
Well,
as,
you know
as soon
what?
as you answered that question earlier, I was going to kick you off. I was going to go, oh, Ryan's done today.
If my dealer delivered the sled in time, then it would be wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did you order a sled this year, Ryan?
No,
No.
we haven't yet.
Oh.
So
Okay, there you go. Well, you're not going to order one now. You have to wait till spring too.
we'll have to wait
Oh,
till
Jesse-
spring. Yeah.
Jesse James 22's in the house. How's it going,
Yeah.
buddy? He's calling out Slowbee, so that's awesome. Yeah, wicked. He's back on the YouTube scene too. He's been cranking out videos.
Yeah.
So there you go. This is awesome. I don't know. Love that.
Yeah, it's nice. Freshly groomed. Good dumping of snow on the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
I got to change my
Oh,
sound
Corey.
effect because Corey
Nice,
sent
Corey.
us up a $13.99er. There we go. Another great session, boys. Cheers, he says. That's great. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, this is really good, Ryan. Like I said, it's very enjoyable. But I love that. That's my favorite kind of day right there when you got the snow hanging in the trees and, you know.
Everybody else is working and you're out on your sled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except when you come up at 49.2 kilometers an hour and this guy's across the trail like that. I don't know.
You
Hey,
can
Rich?
see me in the background there with the radar gun, just making sure everyone's.
You know,
Yeah.
Ryan, we got caught a few years ago on a rail line near Kearney, near Sprucedale. And
Yeah.
so 101 in a 50. So that was, it was,
Yeah.
we learned. Oh my God, there he
OPP
is
love
there.
hanging out there.
There's the delinquent right there.
Oh, he's sending his dad $5.
Yeah, probably to offset the cost of the ticket. Hold on, I gotta get the sound effect. Here we go. Thanks, Drew. Another kick-ass section pop. Kick-ass session pops. That's awesome. And Troy
That's
Parks, we missed him. He's got one too. Nice. Thanks, Troy Parks. You guys rock. Did I miss anybody? Drew, welcome aboard, buddy. We were just talking about your ticket. So
Yeah.
anyway, Dad
Yeah.
took the ticket for him, so he's got.
That's good.
He's got
That's good
a few
parenting.
more. He's got
That
a
was
few
a good
more.
video.
Yeah, he's got a few
was a
more
good video.
bucks to catch up there. I think to pay up. But
The
Yeah.
OPP.
he's down in Windsor right now, so
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know
Okay.
he knows
He'll
that
get out a
$5
few times
just
this
goes
year.
right back to him. Yeah, for sure. Rich and Drew went out last year and
Created Drew's
decided
corner.
Drew decided he was gonna have Rich check out his carbides, so he just pulled over to the side of the trail and turned his sled upside down. And while Rich and I were dismounting our sleds, he decided to lay in the middle of the trail, so just to do some snow angels, I think. So
That was good
we're
fun.
all good from there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Odie says Drew's not home using the internet. That must be why you're not cutting out.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember last year. It's like, oh, the kid must be gaming. Oh, there's
Yeah.
another nice,
He-
beautiful shot.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh yeah.
That's great. You know, it doesn't matter what you ride when you're on trails like that. You know, you got
Oh,
a
yeah, for
small
sure.
phaser there between the two. You get a Ski-Doo, and I don't know what that is behind there. It might be an old Polaris, but it might be an old Ski-Doo. But yeah. So back at the trail passes, Drew threw in $5. That'll get me part of his trail pass there. Now I can
Perfect.
buy one, Ryan.
Do you see a trend with all these pictures? Everyone's neatly in a line, nicely on their side of the road, two hands. There's a formula for these marketing pictures.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. Rich and I we don't notice anything unusual about these. This is the way we
Nope.
drive, right?
Yeah, I believe
know?
you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good way to ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing you probably have to be careful. I know with the ambassador program, when we post pictures to social media, they want us to be cautious about, you know, where we're parking, how we're parking, you know, not to show snow dust, so it indicates speed on the trails, that type of thing. So it must be quite a battle for you guys in how to safely promote the sport.
Oh yeah, it is nonstop, and it's little things, you know, that in some ways seem like we're sucking the fun out of it. We're not trying to. It's more of just keeping everyone from getting sued. Basically, that's what it is. I mean, that's the world we live in, right?
Unfortunately,
yeah. So making sure that we have the best risk management program in place to keep our clubs safe and our volunteers safe.
Yeah.
Yep. That's good. I like it. And here we go. We got this is your typical zone where you find a map and try and figure out where you're at. And the one guy goes, "Don't you have a cell phone? Pull out your OFSC app. Come on."
Yeah. If you pre-downloaded your maps, you'll be in good shape, right? Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's typical Ontario trail. That's nice, though. Eh? Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
this
That's
is beautiful.
Nice.
I hope you guys can see the bridge right there. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, we've got some pretty incredible spans in the province, that's for sure.
Yeah. What's generally, how much do they spend on bridges a year? I know that John Enright from Halliburton said that they put 3 tops on 4 bridges,
Yep. Yeah, it really depends on the type of bridge. This year for larger infrastructure projects, we're in about $1.5 million. And that's beyond the normal maintenance that clubs are doing and districts are doing. Infrastructure is one of the biggest things we are going to tackle next. It was, first it was groomers, get a hold on that and figure out, how we manage that sustainably. Now it's infrastructure. What type of plan do we put in place to make sure these bridges are in excellent shape, they're well maintained, they're ready to rock every season, and we're not waiting to the point where they have to be fixed. They're being proactively fixed. So but again, just like everything else, with groomers getting more sophisticated, so are bridges. They're all engineered, they're steel spans. The cost of wood is more expensive. The environmental aspects are more rigorous. It's just an evolving world, and we just got to ensure that we're there along the way. So, this bridge, every bridge in the province can open each year and be ready for thousands of sleds to go across it.
Yeah. How, do you get involved in that process of saying, "Hey, this club needs a bridge," and how do you ensure that it's safe, or is it you just kind of put the trust in the clubs to ensure that safety?
So we do. We're involved. We're involved in kind of the end side of it, but the management of their assets is the responsibility of the district and club. We're now providing tools to the clubs, more and more tools to help them do it, using the back end of our interactive trail guide to have an asset management or an infrastructure management tool. They're able to plot all their bridges, upload inspection reports, all that stuff. And then we do direct funding. So at one time, the money used to come from the Ministry of Tourism. Now it comes from the Ministry of Transport. We supplement that with money from our own reserves, and this year, as I mentioned, it's 1.5 million directly to infrastructure, and the districts apply for it. Little competitive competition. We obviously always get more requests than money we have, and it goes through a little bit of an assessment to weed out the best and most important projects or most needed projects for this year. That money is then provided to them to do it. So I think what we have to look at is it's easy to build a bridge once. It's harder to have it there for 30 years and have it there in the right shape. So it's not just making sure all of our infrastructure is up to speed today, but making sure that it's up to speed tomorrow and for the next 10 years. And that's what we're really dialing down on this season and into next year is what is our plan for infrastructure management? And I feel pretty good about it. So
nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, Corey had a great comment there. And I don't know whether it was tongue in cheek or not, but he said the fuel cost for groomers is going to hurt this year.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something you guys have forecasted for, or is this a oh crap moment?
Yeah, we did, and we forecasted for the increased cost of lumber, which has since gone down. But unfortunately for us, we've all basically ordered it and have done most of the work so far. Steel costs have gone up, and all of the supply chain items, same chips that are preventing cars from being delivered on time and sleds. Those are the same chips that go into our groomers, which are delaying production in some cases. So all of those items have been taken into account. I think what's nice about our budget and the strength of this organization in totality is we do have the ability, if halfway through the season we realize, hey, all of these costs keep going up and we're under budgeted, we can make the decision to spend more. Yeah, I think we've got a good initial budget and one that we can work with in the event that we need to spend more to keep this going. So, but yeah, colored diesel is going up like crazy. So we've looked at provincial orders, like doing a bulk order of it, but it's been difficult to find the savings and or the suppliers that are able to service a province as big as Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of end up back in the same situation.
Yeah. How do you split up the costs of that? Like do the clubs submit their gas receipts or how do they? I guess they'd have to have some preempted, or do they have?
Yeah, so we have a this will be the boring side of it. We have a central cloud-based system where the districts, because the districts are the ones that I'll say control the local money, but they're the ones that work with the clubs to pay invoices and stuff like that, and set budgets. We have a central ability at my office and through our finance team to see expenses, to look at those budgets, to set budgets each year. And then, so that covers kind of the administrative side of things, the actual cost. We're then able to pull that information back and say, okay, on average, it costs X amount of dollars to operate a groomer. On average, a groomer needs X amount of dollars for preseason maintenance. And so on and so forth. And that's how we kind of come up with what we call an equalization model, which sends out money to the districts and then eventually to the clubs for their operations. So the better data we get, and this is an ongoing item and improving each and every year, the more data we get, the better we're able to fund, and more accurately we're able to fund based on actual needs and expenses. So it's a good process in a very complicated financial model. Trying to send out money to 180 some odd clubs with heavy commercial $300,000 groomers, in a shed that maybe somebody gave to them, right? So it really is a confounding problem, but I think we're getting better each and every year.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, do you get tenders sent out for diesel fuel across Ontario in that, Ryan? Or like, does that you guys send out tenders beforehand for everything?
Yeah, the districts would be responsible for that for any type of bulk fuel purchase. So
okay.
Yeah, I think it's done locally through their clubs.
Okay.
Nice. I see another question about wood stakes versus plastic stakes. Is OFSC canceling the wood stakes and going to plastic, or is it a district question?
I believe it's a district question. They are the plastic stakes provide higher visibility. I think there was an issue a couple of years ago where they made that change, but now the cost of plastic is higher than it was before. So yeah, so you kind of can't win on any of that stuff. But yeah, that's all part of our trail standards, our signage standards, and trail marking standards. So, and that's done in consultation with the districts. So. Yeah.
Well, I think that's important too, to point out that it's not just a matter of going out and slapping up signs and stakes. Or I was blown away the first year I volunteered how much regulation there are for the distance this sign is from the road, like a stop sign or a stop ahead sign, and and you can't have a stake within that much from a stop sign, and there's a lot of, and then there's an auditor that we have that goes out after we stake to make sure that yeah, this is correct, or no, we have to widen these stakes, or have to be 30, is it 30 meters apart? I believe it is.
Yeah.
But whatever the distance is, they check it and go, okay, we're going to fix this. We want to change that part of the trail. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yep. And there are lots of people saying that they're still using wood, and Ron and Christy saying they're using wood stakes. I think we're into wood stakes still. So
yeah, and I know there were some issues with the with reflective paint too at one point in the last couple of years, getting that that orange. But yeah, those trail standards are so important, and it's the boring side of this sport, but it is 50 plus years of evolution to get to a point where we have a rock solid risk management program to make sure that when you're a volunteer, and there's so many of them on this chat, and thank you for what you guys have done and will do, but it's what keeps them protected, keeps them safe, and also on a practical side keeps sledders, gives them the proper visibility, gives them the proper indication of when something's coming. It's as engineered as we possibly can in an unengineered natural environment.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's good. This picture, I heard Rich comment on it. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Fresh ribbon.
That is just that's good, a beautiful morning to wake up to right there.
Oh yeah. First one right on the trail.
He must have had the groomer tracker on his app.
That's right. This is typical of southwestern Ontario, right? It looks like a farmer's field along a bush line, and I love it.
Yeah. I love hopping in and out of the forest and through a field. Yeah.
There was a question about exhausts and modified exhausts earlier in the chat, and I said I would get to it. Let's talk about that for a bit.
So exhausts have been a bigger problem in probably in areas like this that are closer to residential and communities. Big problem in some areas, less of a problem in others. The whole exhausts or speeds and the speed fines, any type of fines, we've gone down that path with the ministry. They were on cans a couple of years ago, and it was their focus. That was the major issue, and then it was speeding, and now this year it looks like it's going to be trespassing. The issue with any of this is what is the disincentive to doing it? So if you go out and you ride off trail and you get a fine of a trespassing fine of, I think it's like $85 or something like that. It's not very expensive. And you go to court and the judge knocks it down to $45 as an administrative fee, right? It doesn't create a deterrent to not do it again. That may be worth it to someone who had a great day boondocking on some farmer's field. But what they're missing is the fact that farmer now walks out and sees his winter wheat trampled. Yeah. He or she is pissed, and that trail is now gone, right? Yeah. So the ability for us to communicate the value add that it may bring to you personally versus the impact on the trail system is really a hard one, but we're gonna try to do it this year in a more intentional way. Am I sitting here being the no fun police saying don't put a can on and don't speed and don't trespass or don't go off trail? The answer is yes, because the implications are that you volunteers who have worked all spring and summer and early fall to build these trails now go out to ride for the first time, and there's a big orange snow fence against it saying trail closed, ride on the road, right? It's not worth it. It's not something that benefits the sport. And there are areas where you can go out and you can do all those things on your own and not impact the organized side of it. And I would encourage you to do it. But just be mindful of those things, because the laws are not there to create an effective enough deterrent, and changing those laws is a Herculean effort. It involves human rights and the United Nations, and like anytime you put a fine on someone, they have the ability to come back and say, I've been disproportionately impacted by this. So so it's an issue. I fully expect the OPP to focus on on trespassing this year, but with the same token that people complain a lot about cans, a lot, and particularly in more populated areas.
Yeah, a lot of manufacturers are doing the good thing of building trail cans where they're as quiet or quieter than stock, but you get a weight savings. And I know that the rule is that there isn't any modifications to the stock exhaust.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll change, or is there a reason that that these manufacturers couldn't get a kind of a pass on that type of product?
Maybe. Certainly the benefit is a quieter sled. That would meet the intent of the legislation, right? Which would be to lower noise emissions. So I don't see why not. But again, even changing that for the positive would be difficult to do. I mean, even I'll give you an example. Our gift card, and we had a willing partner from start to finish with MTO. Not an MTO product, it's an OFSC product, and that was clear, but it's directly connected and can be redeemed for a permit. So there's connectivity to it. That took us the greater part of 7-8 months of almost daily effort on it to be able to announce it at our AGM in that September. And quite honestly, like hours, days before, we weren't sure if we were going to get there to do it. So it's everything with government takes time, and they are a good partner with ours, and we work very well with them. But anytime you have to do that, and especially changing legislation, it goes through the whole public process, right? It will go through the Law Society. It'll go to everyone. So if we had the ability to do it, it would probably be easier, but yeah, it's a tough slog to do those things, and settle in and buckle up for at least a year to 2 years of doing any type of legislative change.
Yeah, there you go. Do you know how many kilometers of trails in Ontario were lost due to trespassing last year?
No, you know what? I don't have a full answer for that, but I do see, like Corey put in there, about 8 kilometers. I think the issue is less kilometers as a calculated total, but more of what has it done across the network. So did you lose volunteers because of it? Did you lose connectivity, even if it's 500 meters? Did you lose connectivity to a top trail? Did you lose a part of your loop? Did you lose connectivity to a lodge or a gas station or something like that? Like those are the things that I think are so important, because every bit of trail, when you're dealing with especially places that may only have one trail in the general vicinity, if you just take a big slice out of the middle of it, what are you going to do? If there's no road running, if there's no other option, what are you going to do? The rest of the trail goes down. So it's a problem. I think that's why I talk about this trail patrol and being seen and out there. We hope that putting this message out, that broadcasting this trespassing video, being more deliberate than we've ever been about calling out bad behavior. It's not to kill your fun. It's to say, hey, the thing that you love doing, you're now impacting negatively because you decided to jump on a farmer's field to get a little snow on your track. It makes a big difference. So we're going to be pretty deliberate about this, and we've got the full support of the government and the OPP to push this message out. So.
Yeah, that's good. I noticed that buying the permit, like that was awesome. That was the first thing I said to everybody I spoke to. That was an awesome message, to see right off the hop. So
I wish it wasn't unlisted, that you could share it after the fact.
Yeah,
like it's an unlisted video.
We will.
I couldn't actually find it. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna wait till after the permits are done.
Yeah, we're gonna put it out a little bit closer to the first trails opening. And just Perfect. As my husky's attacking me here with his bone, but yeah, we're gonna put it out a little later, and then we're going to use it in different snippets throughout the season. So it's going to be a pretty important public PDA for us.
Yeah, very excellent. Good. That's perfect.
So when there's trail losses, Ryan, does it come back to the OFSC, or does it sit with the actual local club and they have to kind of figure it out? Or is there any way that you guys help, or like how does that all work?
Yeah, local trail development is always done at that level, at the club level. We, by nature, again, almost every conversation comes back to liability and operations. But by nature, we being the provincial office, the not-for-profit federation, we stay out of the operational side of trail development. So that includes securing land use agreements, stuff like that. We can do big picture stuff. We can set standards. We can collectively do big picture, but we can't sit at the table with landowner A, B, or C and say, sign this, here's the agreement. It keeps us out of the weeds. There's insurance reasons for it, and it allows us in the event. And I saw it on here about defending in the event of an insurance claim. It puts us in a better position to defend the clubs when needed. So, but we hear about it. We certainly hear about it from our governors, our board of directors. We talk about it frequently, and those type of communications back to us through the chain are what help guide our efforts to mitigate it, right? The marketing efforts, the law enforcement efforts, those are areas where we can make a big impact. And that's what we try to do, is maximize our play there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there'll be a plan set for the OPP this year to sit around where there's, known areas where people hop off the trail just to try to save it. Because it's, like I said, you try to get the word out, but a lot of people, I mean, anyone I ride with or our group of friends or people, you sit there and wonder who it is all the time. But I mean, there's so many times I've ridden through an area and you look over and everyone, you see a ton of tracks going off the trail and you just shake your head. You're like, well, we're going to lose this area next year, so.
Yep. Well, even like look at the picture behind Gary here. Like that is a fresh ribbon. And if you notice on either side, there's no marks, right? There's no sled marks. There's no ski marks anywhere. But that would be a very, very easy place for someone to jump off, right? And say, you know what, I want a little powder. And it happens. So, and it's not something that you can just go and sweep over and then it's gone, right? It stays, and the next person sees it and they do it. So it is a problem. And this was an increasing problem in Quebec as well. Their agriculture federation are up in arms about it, and we can keep sounding the warning alarm until somebody does something, until agriculture federation says we're done, we're not supporting it anymore. Members do not allow your fields to be used anymore. So we don't want to get there. We want to be proactive on this. So, but we're quite honestly, like this is the situation we're in now.
Yeah. I think personally, I think the fines aren't steep enough. I think it should be like the MNR, where if you get caught fishing without a license or fishing off season or whatever, they take everything. They take they take your machine, they take your car, your truck you drove in, your trailer, your boat, and I mean, if you started enforcing the trespassing rule like that, and again, Corey says that they find in their area, and I know it's not the same in all areas, so don't beat up on him for saying it, but he said that he finds in his area it's locals that don't buy trail passes. They're just riding out there and beat up sleds, just drift bash and ditch banging and everything. And I mean, that's the thing. There's no consequence to them. However, if it was something where, guess what, guys, you're not only getting the fine, but you just lost your machines, you're done, right?
Yeah, we have a good model. Like the Quebec fine system is fairly severe, and we've presented that to the government, and there was some interest. But again, it's that process of which party will this affect too much, which group is going to file a human rights complaint against us for increasing fines to $600-700. It's just a process to change laws like that. So we're not giving up, though. We've got a willing attorney general who's a a friend of snowmobiling and a local MPP, anyways, and for our office. So we've got a good audience, and we've got the speaking points. We're just got to keep hammering at it to try to tackle it on multiple levels. But the trespassing side is always the most difficult because it's the landowner that has to press charges.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of time, right? You got to, is it worth it for the farmer to, stop what he's doing or she's doing to go and spend a couple days in court to fight, an $85 fine? That's where most of it falls off. So
yeah, that's where you, like you were saying, you need to have a fine that's got some teeth.
Yeah.
Like $85, and the average guy will probably, well, I don't know the average guy, but anybody that's doing it will probably, like you said, fight it, right? And then you got to bring in the landowner, and it's kind of a double-edged sword for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the thing. What frustrates me the most is when they're like last year on, I think it was 705 Snowmobiles, the Facebook group, some lady posted and just said, you know what, guys, I've got, and it's a big section of trail. It was a feeder trail, like a connector trail, and I'm closing it. She was out for a walk, and basically sledders just called her every name in the book and disrespected her, and she just goes like, whatever. So if you see people on the trail, don't ever think that it might not be the person that owns that out there with their dog. And the foot you step on today might be connected to the ass you got to kiss tomorrow, right? And that's that's the thing that people don't realize. So it's.
I saw one last year of I don't even remember where it was, but it was somewhere in Ontario, and it was a picture of a cemetery with tracks going all through the headstones. Like from our trail, somebody decided to do that, and that's like, put aside landowners, but talk about more populated areas, and we've got really good examples of snowmobile friendly towns and cities that welcome sleds onto their main drag, right? And that's where you get the hotels, and that's where you get the restaurants and fuel. Well, they're not going to do that if we're acting like fools out there. So it's it all is important. Every decision that is made out there, affects the greater good of this sport. And I think we just have to all be diligent to make sure that we're riding with people that are following the rules. And if we see others out there that are with you and doing it, then we remind them of the impact of it, because you folks work so hard to deliver this trail network every year, and it's such a shame to lose it for one or two bad apples.
Brad, how about a public beating?
Yeah. And that's Rich, like you look at our audience here, like the people in the chat, like they're all in support of the movement to not trespass. So it's not the people that are passionate. Like I think our group of snowmobilers that we have watching the show, even right now and even in the replays, they're the ones that stick around for 2 hours and 6 minutes through a broadcast to they're hardcore. So
for sure,
it's probably falling on deaf ears here, but it's important to know. And I think the initiative was that someone said last year is be firm when your friend shows up with a can or wants to trespass or whatever, that you don't ride with guys like that. You don't ride with girls or guys like that, So,
but you hit the nail on the head. You see most people, like I've yet to see in all my years of snowmobiling, witnessing someone going to do that. Because I think the majority of us would stay pulled off to the side and give the person an earful, right? And say, what are you doing? You're going to close our trails. Yeah. It's weird.
You'd be
that's not passing the buck, but I've never seen it. I've honestly, personally, never seen it myself yet.
Yeah.
So
I haven't. It's the people that would surprise you the most, that it's not young kids. Like you see some people getting painted in the picture, but nice trail going through a bush, and one of the guys in the pack we rode around the bush through a cornfield, and we're going like, why the hell did you do that? That was a beautiful trail through that bush. Like you got ahead of us, and you're waiting for 5 minutes or 6 minutes for us to get through the bush, but you missed a crazy nice section of trail that was, your loss, right? And that's the thing. You went through a field that could have been, delicate I don't know whether it was cornfield, it might have been winter wheat or whatever, but it was definitely, nothing frustrates me more than mark that says winter wheat, stay on trail, and there's friggin' snowmobile tracks around the sign,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but these are gorgeous pictures. Look at that.
Yeah,
That looks like
material.
Cochrane, right? Yeah,
Yep.
that looks
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Cochrane.
Yeah.
That's Cochrane. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is beautiful.
Dress warm for our U.S. friends coming up if you're going to Cochrane area.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have distances from, say, urban centers like Toronto, or from the borders for places like that? Or is there a spot on your website where American travelers can find that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to do it as of Thursday morning. You'll be able to plan your routes through the interactive trail guide. So figure out where you're crossing, kind of start there, and you can figure out the distance on the trail, and or you can pop on Google and figure out the driving distance. But there really are crossings that take you right into the heart of almost all of our districts. So if you're looking to go north and you're coming from the UP, the Minnesota area, you can pop over in the Sioux. You can come up through Fort Francis or Pigeon River or Rainy River. All those places will take you up there. And if you're looking to ride in southeastern Ontario, obviously you have the Thousand Islands and all those places in upstate New York. So check it out. Lots of different riding, lots of different. And I think what's kind of unique about it is depending on where you're riding, the services, the amenities, the hotels, the restaurants, it's all different, right? It's all different feel. So you're never going to get the same thing twice when you're riding in Ontario, and certainly if you're riding north and in the southern part, you're going to have two completely different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think I encourage everybody to check out the maps on when they open up on Thursday or later this week, that to see how much riding opportunity there is north of the border if you're coming from the
Sure.
US, because it really is incredible what we have up here. And I know Brad said about the speed limit again. Don't get hung up on that. It's not an issue for us Canadians and Ontario people. We don't let it bug us, so it shouldn't bug you guys either. You mind your P's and Q's and
read between the lines
and read, yeah, and enjoy the trails for what they are,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the so, but
common sense. Yeah.
I love this picture, and that's why I used it. Everybody says I'm anti-cat, but there you go. I use that as a profile picture. So.
Right.
Two beautiful cats. There's another nice one. Where there's no snowmobile in here. I take it he's behind the tree taking a leak or something. Maybe riding off trail.
Yeah. I don't know. The burns look like they're intact, so I think we're good.
They do.
Yeah.
I love that. Again, nice. The pictures are excellent. They just show quite the variety. So, and don't forget the deadline is November 1st. Actually, if you're planning on coming up to Ontario for a few trips, it's probably worth it to just get in before
buy the pass
31st.
Yeah,
and buy the pass, right?
Yeah, you're $45 a day on a multi-day, so you're starting off for one weekend $80, which with the exchange rate is certainly an additional value for you. But if you're coming up for 2 weekends, extend it, extend the weekend, grab a third day in those weekends, and you're better off grabbing a full season. And like I said, if you're not if you don't have your sled yet, if you're not quite sure, grab yourself a gift card now and lock in that early season pricing. So
yeah. And the cost is still amazing for the trails we get. Like seriously, like I got buddies that spend more money a weekend golf on one round of golf or skiing. It's the price is amazing for what we get. So
it is. The Bryce Taylor says is a power line that runs through Ontario, so that starts in Minden, comes over to the Muskoka side. Is that Crown Land?
I don't
know. You know the tower we're talking about, Rich, right?
Yeah, I would assume it's a hydro line, so
I think it is hydro
maybe
access.
ran. I still think it could be private property. Like it could be Ontario Crown land for Ontario Hydro. I don't know.
It's hard to you'd have to look at the land atlas, because hydro
Yeah.
operates on Crown, they operate on private land,
Yeah.
they operate on easements, they own their land, some of their land themselves, so they just have taken whatever they're able to get, and so it would be more of, you got to check the land atlas on that.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. But that's, I thought that I was just kind of doing the numbers in my head about the pass, and I'm thinking, I talked to a few guys about coming up this winter, and it's almost like, here's the question: if you're going to buy the pass now, what if they bought a gift card? Does it expire, or does it something they can apply that amount for next year? Or
no, so the gift card is for this season, because it aligns directly with the cost of a permit.
Oh, okay.
At that time, yeah. So it's a redeemable for a permit, but yeah, it expires at the end of this season.
Yeah, 31st of May. I think it's said, yeah.
I mean, we can send you a permit for this season in the middle of next summer if you want, but it won't be worth anything. If you want it for sticking on your wall or your garage or something like that.
Yeah. I love those guys that sell a sled in April and say it's got a 2021 trail permit on it.
Well, it's a sales guy that doesn't know the sport, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think Rich had that in his ad for his sled.
It comes with a 2021 permit.
Yeah. Two of them.
Yeah, I had the Quebec permit on there too. So
yeah,
I always buy the Quebec permit too as well, the season pass, because you go back twice and it pays for itself. So
that's true. And then you don't have the hassle of,
you know what? I've always just bought the passes, both of them, at the beginning of the year, and actually it's good too, because the Quebec one's offering what the Offsc is. They just announced that because of people going to be getting their sleds so late that you'll be able to get a gift card. They never offered that before, but I think they're realizing with the delay in sled deliveries, they're going to get a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and we certainly when we built it a couple of years ago, obviously the supply chain delays of today were not in mind. These were like one-off, two-offs, people trading sleds or buying a new one, and it has paid dividends. I know the dealers have been pretty happy with that option because it keeps people from complaining.
Yeah, for sure.
Heading out. She said she's got to go be a parent. That's great. Thank you for
see you, Christy.
She's awesome. She's awesome.
So I just got a text from a friend here. It says the guys talk about the hydro line that goes from Halliburton to Whitney. That's hydro Algonquin Park, which is Crown land. So there you go.
Oh, okay, perfect. There you go. Yep.
Oh, nice trail there.
That's
too.
Quite. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Look at the sleds way up there. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it'd be great to know where these are. Next year when you come on, Ryan, we're gonna have to get you to label them.
I'll take some myself this year.
Yeah, perfect. And look at this. Love that. That's what I like about snowmobiling. You see things that you'd never see by car or by foot. You know what I mean? Like it just gives you a whole new perspective on the backcountry.
Yeah, you see a lot of parts of the country that you wouldn't be able to see unless you're on a snowmobile, right? Like going up to the Abitibi Canyon, like Northern Cochrane, like going up, you're in the middle of nowhere. It's unreal. Yeah. It's God's country. It's nice.
Yeah, and you're not going to get there in the summertime by ATV or by Jeep or
Well, you could take an adventure bike up there. I know my one buddy. Part of it, but but it's different, right? Like the winter time's it's an amazing scenery for sure.
Well, and if you're bringing family and friends that aren't riding all day or not the whole trip, and you're in Cochrane, they can go to the polar bear habitat up there. Check that out.
And we had him on. We had the curator of the museum on last year, and he gave us a tour and talked about that. And that's dynamite.
Yeah,
I love that. What other places like that are there in Ontario that have that the opportunities like that? Do you know of any others that are big destinations?
Like more of like on the tourist touristy side,
Yeah.
like non-sledding. Yeah, like it really just depends where you are. Like if you're riding down in what we call District 1, which is in southeastern Ontario in the Ottawa area, you're not far off from popping into downtown Ottawa and checking out, Parliament and the museums there, and all those things. The Thousand Islands are stunning. Coming across upstate New York there, going up to Tobermory and riding in Georgian Bay, the ice caves. I mean, there's just, it's kind of unlimited options to go out and see things and be part of it. But if you're, I think you mentioned Blue Mountain before, like lots of great skiing destinations and resorts that the families can stay at while you're out. Really, really good options to involve the whole family here. Keeps you out of trouble anyways when you get home. So
That's right.
Sure.
And you mentioned about snow loops. How many loops do we have in Ontario right now, like as far as the tours?
So those are ongoing approval at the moment. We'll have that number out before the start of the season, but typically every district has a couple, some bigger ones, some smaller ones, and they kind of refresh them each and every year based on, new additions, trail changes, stuff like that. So, but some of the ones that are most popular with American riders, obviously the Wrap Tour around Algonquin Park Tour. That's a big one. We mentioned the Abitibi Canyon Loop. Really good one, and certainly you kind of end up at that picturesque canyon shot, halfway through it. So we've got a ton. I mean, they'll be updated on our Gold Rush is a big one. 700 plus kilometers. North Shore Loop around the North Shore of the lake there. So lots of options to go out and these loops. And actually, this is probably a helpful hint for some of our U.S. riders. While they are busier, they are often the places where the clubs and districts will focus a lot of their grooming resources because of how popular they are. So weekends are obviously busier up here, but if you pop up midweek, you're going to have a pretty comfortable ride no matter where you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nice.
Lots of good trips. Good.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and that's the thing. It's like we have a couple of people chiming in. You can ride right up to Science North and Sudbury. I know the Mattawa Loop is really good. There's a handful of destinations and tours in the EICKMEIER and things like that you can visit. And and then even in our area, there's the you've got the Wrap Tour around Algonquin Park. You got RAN around Lake Nipissing. You've got the District 5 tour that they had in the past, and that's one you could have done last year, which was the 5 Alive Loop. So it's great to see that so many clubs getting involved in like that Muskoka Magic Tour. So.
And just stunning lakes, right? We're so lucky in Ontario to have beautiful lakes and freshwater bodies of water to ride on. It really makes the trails.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a good winter this year, which we're supposed to. So
what's your Ryan, what's your idea that your sign that we're getting a good snowfall this winter? Everybody has their wives.
Okay. All right. Well, my thing is annually at our usually at our AGM or our convention, we do a couple things to make the snow fall. So 3 years ago, I guess it was, we gave everybody in attendance a spoon. And there's an old wives' tale that if you put a spoon under your pillow and sleep on it, you're going to have a snow day the next year. So if you have a spoon, put that under your pillow. That's number one.
Yes.
Number two is the next year we got white crayons for everyone in attendance. And the tale is that you put the white crayon in the freezer, freeze it overnight, and you're going to have a snow day the next day. So, you might want to combine so that's number two. Now this year was a little bit more physically active and we did it digitally, so I couldn't see everyone doing it. But in order to make it snow, you got to get up, you got to run around your kitchen table 5 times. And then it should snow. So if all those things are happening, I feel pretty good about our chances this year.
Right on.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Do you have any dream destinations? Like, what's your perfect snowmobile session? If you could do anything, ride anywhere, where do you think it would be?
You know what? Just somewhere where you haven't been, somewhere that's an area of the province, or a town, or a city, or a motel, a hotel, a restaurant, somewhere new, somewhere that is. When you get there, you're going to say, wow, it's going to be unfamiliar. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone. And I think so many of these places will do that, whether it's the technicality of the riding or the wide open spaces of being up north and being on that kind of rugged, snowmobile trail. There are so many options for folks to get out and see this province, and take advantage of not just the well-maintained network that we have, but the vastness, the openness, I guess the solidarity of being, a speck on a map of 30,000 kilometers with you and your buddies. It's just cool. Being out there is different, right? It gives you a feeling that very few other things in this world give you, because you're exposed to the elements, because you have to prepare so much. It just, get out there and try it, and try something new, and take advantage of the beautiful natural landscape that we're so fortunate to have here in Ontario.
For sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. The people are arguing about stuff in the chat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're looking for their syrup and their Blair Morgan shirts, I guess. So yeah, I know
Corey,
it's John
I'd have
Luke's in
nothing to do with
hiding
that.
now. Yeah, I'm not having him give away anything else on the air, Rich.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I hear you.
No more.
That's too funny.
No,
well, honestly, Ryan, you answered a lot of great questions tonight. Like all the main ones, you were straightforward with us. Appreciate it. Especially with the BRP, the Polaris on board, and then obviously dealing with the app too. Really appreciate that, because I know a lot of people were really curious about that. So, and it sounds like we've got a really good future with both. So that's good.
Yeah.
It looks promising.
Yeah, and you're doing some really wonderful things with the Offsc. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy being part of it. I know for a fact, and I encourage everyone else to get involved with their club as well. So,
for sure. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Is there
guys.
anything else you wanted to touch on tonight, Ryan? Or is there any other questions you guys in the chat had for Ryan?
I've got nothing else. I think we've covered the
pretty much everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Any other
probably
questions?
end the broadcast and go, man, we should have asked him this. But, but no.
Well, those were the two main
really
ones
good.
that I was asked constantly about. So that's awesome, and you answered them. So
Yeah,
that's
for
great.
sure.
Thank you so much.
But anyway, and make sure you hop online and ofsc.on.ca, and you can buy your permits online there. And after you're done that, hop on to fasttrack.co, fasttrac.co, and enter in the coupon code SNOW, and you'll get and put the toolkit in your shopping cart. Enter that coupon code, and you'll get the toolkit free with the purchase of your stud kit. So thank you, Fast Track, for supporting us. Thank you so much, Energy Power Sports, as well. Don't forget to check them out online or on the YouTube network, energypowersports.ca. And on YouTube, just search them up, Energy Power Sports. And they have a great Instagram page as well. So he had a big sale on this past weekend. So they had a lot of, he's buying some previous season's stock and blowing it out. I know Mark Bowe got a couple of really good deals. He got some Ski-Doo gear for 50% off. So that's crazy. You can pretty much go in there now and outfit the whole family for a dime,
Nice.
Really good. Bruce Stewart says, great show, guys. Odie, the sled and car guy, agrees. So Troy said he thinks the club struggle is everywhere, so that's cool.
Need new
Thank
volunteers.
you so much. Yeah, for sure. So if that's what we're going to do, we'll just end it here. If you have anything else to add, let me know. And if you guys have any questions, don't just email me too, and I can make sure it gets in the right hands.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay,
again, Ryan.
just stick around. I'm going to roll the credits, Ryan, and just stick around, and away we go.
Cancel your mail for a It's a journey full